Mm-hmm. 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 Here we are. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ba-dum. Hey, we're live. We're live. Excellent. Everything's plugged in. Everything is working. Hey, everybody. Hey, guys. Great to see everyone in the chat room. Glad we are live now. This is the special birthday edition of Torn Tuesday. Thank you, Justin. You guys, welcome to my birthday. I just turned another year wiser, maybe, and I've turned another year leaner, nice, slender. Keep that fit form that I've had since I was a child. I'm so glad that my metabolism hasn't slowed down yet, even though I've crept into my early 40s without anybody noticing. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to a special edition of our weekly webcast, brought to you live from Meltdown Comics here in the heart of Los Angeles. And I'm glad to celebrate a special birthday with you guys. Without a co-host, I am a Roger Ebert without his Gene Siskel. My buddy Justin is off and about doing other things. Thank you guys for all the great wishes. Thank you. I see all my friends in the chat room. This is great. I'm going to click out and then click in so that we can get the keyboard. There's the keyboard. I am happy to see Dwalin Dude and Tolkien Girl and Fosoena and, of course, Erovandi. Hey, everybody's in there. We've got lots of people in the chat room, all of our usual friends. Yes, it's time to celebrate a great birthday. Thank you. I love you guys, too. Happy birthday. I'm sure Pete, anybody else out there, North Runner? Hey, there's Emily. Emily, my dear friend. Azog the Defiler. Oh, wow. You guys are all here, and I'm very pleased to celebrate. And I'm going to celebrate my birthday by bringing out my favorite birthday present. Take a look at this. I'm going to bring it really, really close to the camera in just a second after I explain what it is. This was my birthday present that I got when I was 11 years old. It was my very first copy, the Ballantine paperback edition of The Fellowship of the Ring. It came in a gold box with The Two Towers and The Return of the King and The Hobbit, of course. All 4 volumes in that gold box. Thank you. There it is. That was my birthday present when I was just a wee lad. Oh, so many years ago. I was 11. And this is tattered and torn. It is threadbare. The pages are falling apart. The cover has been torn off and retaped and retaped. And believe me, Scotch tape. Scotch tape. Here. From 1979 or 1980. I think it was 1980. I've got this damn thing for all those years. So happy to have it. And so happy to share with you a special birthday speech. Shall we begin? Right here. Page 53 in Chapter 1, A Long Expected Party. My dear people, and I'm going to hear shouts from the chat room of, hear, hear. Yeah, that's right. You guys are supposed to say hear, hear, and you're also supposed to say all the, the call and response that the hobbits did at the party. My dear Bagginses and Boffins, he began again. And my dear Tooks and Brandybucks and Grubs and Chubs and Burrowses and Hornblowers and Bulgers, Brace Girdles, Good Bodies, Brockhouses, and Proudfoots. That's your job. That's you guys. Go ahead, say it. Proud feet. That's your job. Very good. I'm going to read the rest of this speech, and then we're going to actually have a very special continuance of what I call Professor's Reading Corner. And we're going to read a chapter from The Hobbit, maybe 2 chapters from The Hobbit. You guys tell me what chapter from The Hobbit you'd like me to read, but let's continue. Proudfoots, repeated Bilbo, and also my good Sackville Bagginses that I welcome back at last to Bag End. Today is my 111th birthday. Poor Ian Holm, being drunk. I am 11-1 today. Your response is, hooray, hooray, many happy returns. That's your job. Hey, you guys are good. I see you're in the chat room. You're bringing it. Very good. This was the sort of stuff they liked. Short and obvious. I love it. I love Professor Tolkien having a laugh about the hobbits and their limited capacity to handle a birthday speech. I hope you are all enjoying yourselves as much as I am. Deafening cheers, cries of yes and no. This is so awesome. But Bilbo had not finished. Indeed, nope, he says, "I shall not keep you long," he cried. "I have called you all together for a purpose. Indeed, for 3 purposes. First of all, to tell you that I'm immensely fond of you all, and that 11 years is too short a time to live among such excellent and admirable hobbits." Tremendous outburst of approval. That's your job. Tremendous outburst. I want to see a tremendous outburst of approval from the chat room right now. I don't know half of you half as well as I should like. And I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. This was unexpected and rather difficult. Professor Tolkien at his best. This is just the best stuff. Secondly, to celebrate my birthday. I should say our birthday, for it is, of course, also the birthday of my heir and nephew, Frodo. He comes of age and into his inheritance today. The Sackville Bagginses scowled and wondered what was meant by coming into his inheritance. Oh, I love it. It's so funny. Nice to see the Sackville Bagginses have that little bit at the end of the Battle of the Five Armies. Wasn't it? Wasn't that fun? Together, we score 144. Your numbers were chosen to fit this remarkable total. 1 gross, if I may use the expression. It is also, if I may be allowed to refer to ancient history, the anniversary of my arrival by barrel at Esgaroth on the Long Lake, though the fact that it was my birthday slipped my memory on that occasion. I was only 51 then, and birthdays did not seem so important. The banquet was very splendid, however, though I had a bad cold at the time. I remember and could only say, "Thank you very much. Thank you very much." I now repeat it more correctly. Thank you very much for coming to my little party here on Torn Tuesday. Thirdly, and finally, I wish to make an announcement. I regret to announce that, though, as I said, 11 years is far too short a time to spend among you. This is the end. I am going. I am leaving. Now. Goodbye. Vanish. That was my little vanishing act. There you go. Happy birthday. And then I put on my little ring and I'm going. Now, let me tell you something. Another birthday, another exciting year at TheOneRing.net. We got through our 3rd and final Hobbit film, the excellent Battle of the Five Armies, which was kind of like the great 3rd act that we've been waiting for. And it's my pleasure to respond to all of you guys who have, for many, many, many months, maybe more than a couple of years, you guys have asked for me to just read, straight reading from Professor Tolkien's work. So let's do it. Let's bring out, here it is, the annotated edition of The Hobbit. I have my copy right here, right here. The best copy, the very best edition. Douglas Anderson, friend of mine, great talent, a great scholar of Tolkien. Douglas Anderson and his annotated Hobbit is the only edition that you'll ever want, the only one you'll ever need, and it is so superior. I'm going to read from The Hobbit just for you guys. Tell me, what chapter would you guys like for me to start with? Any particular, choices, ideas? You want to hear The Hobbit? Let's hear The Hobbit, then. You tell me what chapter you guys want to start with, and we'll see what we can do. You know what? I'll start with What do you think? Inside information? Okay, that's excellent. Wow, what a great chapter. That's a great chapter. Inside information. That's tricky. Chapter 12. This is it, guys. We're going to... Oh, well, Esme, I could start at the beginning, but we're going to save that maybe for another day, when I'll actually do an entire, complete read-through from the beginning to the very end. We'll do that on a separate edition, and we'll do it live. It will be wonderful. I will have appropriate snacks and nibblies and a glass of Fiji water, maybe a little something, a little nip out of my flask to keep me going. We'll do that, and it will be a great read, and it will be our special time together where we as Tolkien fans just revel in the absolute grace and purity of his language, and will appreciate Tolkien at his best. And I'll read the whole Hobbit, and it'll be our very own time together, all of us. It'll be a special event. But for now, we'll just get a chapter or two. And let's start with inside information. Since that was the first little thing that I saw here in the chat room, let's begin. From J.R.R. Tolkien's classic, The Hobbit, first published in 1937. Here we are, Chapter 12, Inside Information. For a long time, the dwarves stood in the dark before the door and debated, until at last Thorin spoke. Now is the time for our esteemed Mr. Baggins, who has proved himself a good companion on our long road, and a hobbit full of courage and resource, far exceeding his size, and if I may say so, possessed of good luck, far exceeding the usual allowance. Now is the time for him to perform the service for which he was included in our company. Now is the time for him to earn his reward. You're familiar with Thorin's style on important occasions, so I will not give you any more of it, though he went on a good deal longer than this. It certainly was an important occasion, but Bilbo felt impatient. By now, he was quite familiar with Thorin too, and he knew what he was driving at. If you think it is my job to go into the secret passage first, O Thorin, Thrain's son, Oakenshield, may your beard grow ever longer, he said crossly. Say so at once, and have done. I might refuse. I have got you out of 2 messes already, which were hardly in the original bargain, so that I am, I think, already owed some reward. But 3rd time pays for all, as my father used to say, and somehow I don't think I shall refuse. Perhaps I've begun to trust my luck more than I used to in the old days. He meant last spring, before he left his own house, but it seemed centuries ago. But anyway, I think I will go and have a peep at once and get it over. Now, who is coming with me? He did not expect a chorus of volunteers, so he was not disappointed. Feely and Keely looked uncomfortable and stood on one leg, but the others made no pretense of offering, except old Balin, the lookout man, who was rather fond of the Hobbit. He said he would come inside, at least, and perhaps a bit of the way too, ready to call for help if necessary. The most that can be said for the dwarves is this. They intended to pay Bilbo really handsomely for his services. They had brought him to do a nasty job for them, and they did not mind the poor little fellow doing it if he would. But they would all have done their best to get him out of trouble if he got into it, as they did in the case of the trolls at the beginning of their adventures, before they had any particular reasons for being grateful to him. There it is. Dwarves are not heroes, but calculating folk with a great idea of the value of money. Some are tricky and treacherous, and pretty bad lots. Some are not, but are decent enough people, like Thorin and company, if you don't expect too much. The stars were coming out behind him in a pale sky, barred with black, when the Hobbit crept through the enchanted door and stole into the mountain. It was far easier going than he expected. This was no goblin entrance or rough wood elf's cave. It was a passage made by dwarves at the height of their wealth and skill. Straight as a ruler, smooth-floored and smooth-sided, going with a gentle, never-varying slope, direct to some distant end in the blackness below. After a while, Balin bade Bilbo good luck and stopped where he could still see the faint outline of the door, and by a trick of the echoes of the tunnel, hear the rustle of the whispering voices of the others just outside. Then the hobbit slipped on his ring, and warned by the echoes to take more than hobbit's care to make no sound, he crept noiselessly down, down, down into the dark. He was trembling with fear, but his little face was set and grim. Already he was a very different hobbit than the one that had run out without a pocket handkerchief from Bag End long ago. He had not had a pocket handkerchief for ages. He loosened his dagger in its sheath, tightened his belt, and went on. "Now you're in for it at last, Bilbo Baggins," he said to himself. "You went and put your foot right in it that night of the party, and now you've got to pull it out and pay for it. Dear me, what a fool I was and am," said the least tookish part of him. "I have absolutely no use for dragon-guarded treasures, and the whole lot could stay here forever. If only I could wake up and find this beastly tunnel was my own front hall at home." He did not wake up, of course, but went still on and on till all sign of the door behind him had faded away. He was altogether alone. Soon he thought it was beginning to feel warm. "Is that a kind of a glow I seem to see coming right ahead down there?" he thought. It was. As he went forward, it grew and grew, till there was no doubt about it. It was a red light, steadily getting redder and redder. Also, it was now undoubtedly hot in the tunnel. Wisps of vapor floated up and past him, and he began to sweat. A sound, too, began to throb in his ears, a sort of bubbling like the noise of a large pot galloping on the fire, mixed with a rumble as of a gigantic tomcat purring. This grew to the unmistakable gurgling noise of some vast animal snoring in its sleep down there in the red glow in front of him. It was at this point Bilbo stopped. Going on from there was the bravest thing he ever did. The tremendous things that happened afterwards were as nothing compared to it. He fought the real battle in the tunnel alone before he ever saw the vast danger that lay in wait. At any rate, after a short halt, go on he did, and you can picture him coming to the end of the tunnel, an opening of much the same size and shape as the door above. Though through it peeps the hobbit's little head. Before him lies the great bottommost cellar, or dungeon hall, of the ancient dwarves, right at the mountain's root. It is almost dark, so that its vastness can only be dimly guessed, but rising from the near side of the rocky floor, there is a great glow, the glow of Smaug. There he lay, a vast red golden dragon, fast asleep. A thrumming came from his jaws and nostrils, and wisps of smoke, but his fires were low in slumber. Beneath him, under all his limbs and his huge coiled tail, and about him on all sides, stretching away across the unseen floors, lay countless piles of precious things, gold wrought and unwrought, gems and jewels and silver red-stained in the ruddy light. Smaug lay, with wings folded like an immeasurable bat, turned partly on one side so that the hobbit could see his underparts and his long, pale belly crusted with gems and fragments of gold from his long lying on his costly bed. Behind him were the walls. Behind him, where the walls were nearest, could dimly be seen coats of mail, helms and axes, swords and spears hanging, and there, in rows, stood great jars and vessels, filled with a wealth that could not be guessed. To say that Bilbo's breath was taken away is no description at all. There are no words left to express his staggerment. I love that word, staggerment. There are no words left to express his staggerment, since men changed the language that they learned of elves in the days when all the world was wonderful. Bilbo had heard tell and sing of dragon hordes before, but the splendor, the lust, the glory of such treasure had never yet come home to him. His heart was filled and pierced with enchantment and with the desire of dwarves, and he gazed motionless, almost forgetting the frightful guardian, at the gold beyond price and count. He gazed for what seemed an age, before, drawn almost against his will, he stole from the shadow of the doorway, across the floor, to the nearest edge of the mounds of treasure. Above him the sleeping dragon lay, a dire menace, even in his sleep. He grasped a great two-handed cup, as heavy as he could carry, and cast one fearful eye upwards. Smaug stirred a wing, opened a claw, a rumble of his snoring changed its note. Then Bilbo fled. But the dragon did not wake, not yet, but shifted into other dreams of greed and violence, lying there in his stolen hall, while the little hobbit toiled back up the long tunnel. His heart was beating, and a more fevered shaking was in his legs than when he was going down, but still he clutched the cup. And his chief thought was, "I've done it! This will show them. More like a grocer than a burglar, indeed. Well, we'll hear no more of that." Nor did he. Balin was overjoyed to see the hobbit again, and as delighted as he was surprised. He picked Bilbo up and carried him out into the open air. It was midnight, and the clouds had covered the stars, but Bilbo lay with his eyes shut, gasping and taking pleasure in the feel of the fresh air again, and hardly noticing the excitement of the dwarves, or how they praised him and patted him on the back and put themselves and all their families for generations to come at his service. The dwarves were still passing the cup from hand to hand, and still delightedly talking delightedly of the recovery of their treasure, when suddenly a vast rumbling woke in the mountain underneath, as if it was an old volcano that had made up its mind to start eruption once again. The door behind them was nearly pulled to, and blocked from closing with a stone. But up the long tunnel came the dreadful echoes, and from far down in the depths, of a bellowing and a trampling that made the ground beneath them tremble. Then the dwarves forgot their joy and their confident boasts for a moment before, and cowered down in fright. Smaug was still to be reckoned with. It does not do to leave a live dragon out of your calculations, if you live near him. Dragons may not have much real use for all their wealth, but they know it to an ounce, as a rule, especially after long possession, and Smaug was no exception. He had passed from an uneasy dream in which a warrior, altogether insignificant in size, but provided with a bitter sword and great courage, figured most unpleasantly, to a doze, and from a doze to a wide waking. There was a breath of strange air in his cave. Could there be a draught from that little hole? He had never felt quite happy about it, although it was so small, and now that he glared at it in suspicion, and wondered why he had never blocked it up. Of late, he had half fancied he had caught the dim echoes of a knocking sound from far above, that came down through it to his lair. He stirred and stretched forth his neck to sniff. Then he missed the cup. Thieves! Fire! Murder! Such a thing had not happened since first he came to the mountain. His rage passes description. The sort of rage that is only seen when rich folk that have more than they can enjoy suddenly lose something that they have long had but have never before used or wanted. His fire belched forth. The hall smoked. He shook the mountain roots. He thrust his head in vain at that little hole, and then, coiling his length together, roaring like thunder underground, he sped from his deep lair through its great door, out into the huge passages of the mountain palace, and up towards the front gate. To hunt the whole mountain till he had caught the thief and had torn and trampled him was his one thought. He issued from the gate. The waters rose in fierce, whistling steam, and up he soared, blazing into the air, and settled on the mountain top in a spout of green and scarlet flame. Oof. The dwarves heard the awful rumor of his flight, and they crouched against the walls of the grassy terrace, cringing under boulders, hoping somehow to escape the frightful eyes of the hunting dragon. There they would have all been killed if it had not been for Bilbo. Once again, "Quick! Quick!" he gasped. "The door! The tunnel! It's no good here!" Roused by his words, they were just about to creep inside the tunnel when Bifur gave a cry. "My cousins! Bomber and Boffer! We've forgotten them! They're down in the valley!" "They will be slain, and all our ponies too, and all our stores lost," moaned the others. "We can do nothing." "Nonsense!" said Thorin, recovering his dignity. "We cannot leave them. Get inside, Mr. Baggins and Balin, and you too, Feely and Keely. The dragon shan't have all of us. Now, you others, where are the ropes? Be quick!" Those were perhaps the worst moments they had been through yet. The horrible sounds of Smaug's anger were echoing in the stony hollows far above. At any moment he might come blazing down or fly whirling around and find them there, near the perilous cliff's edge, hauling madly on the ropes. Up came Boffer, and still all was safe. Up came Bombur, puffing and blowing while the ropes creaked, and still all was safe. Up came some tools and bundles of stores, and then danger was upon them. A whirring noise was heard. A red light touched the points of standing rocks. The dragon came. They had barely time to fly back to the tunnel, pulling and dragging in their bundles, when Smaug came hurtling from the north, licking the mountain sides with flame, beating his great wings with a noise like a roaring wind. His hot breath shriveled the grass before the door, and drove in through the crack they had left, and scorched them as they lay hid. Flickering fires leapt up, and black rock shadows danced. Then darkness fell as he passed again. The ponies screamed with terror, burst their ropes, and galloped wildly off. The dragon swooped and turned to pursue them, and was gone. "That'll be the end of our poor beasts," said Thorin. "Nothing can escape Smaug once he has seized it. Here we are, and here we shall have to stay, unless anyone fancies tramping the long open miles back to the river with Smaug on the watch." It was not a pleasant thought. They crept further down the tunnel, and there they lay and shivered, though it was warm and stuffy, until dawn came pale through the crack of the door. Every now and again, through the night, they could hear the roar of the flying dragon grow and then pass and fade as he hunted round and round the mountainsides. He guessed from the ponies and from the traces of the camps he had discovered that men had come up from the river and the lake and had scaled the mountainside from the valley where the ponies had been standing. But the door withstood his searching eye, and the little high-walled bay had kept out his fiercest flames. Long he had hunted in vain, till the dawn chilled his wrath, and he went back to his golden couch to sleep, and to gather new strength. He would not forget or forgive the theft, not if 1,000 years turned him to smoldering stone. But he could afford to wait. Slow and silent, he crept back to his lair and half closed his eyes. When morning came, the terror of the dwarves grew less. They realized that dangers of this kind were inevitable in dealing with such a guardian, and that it was no good giving up their quest yet. Nor could they get away just now, as Thorin had pointed out. Their ponies were lost or killed, and they would have to wait some time before Smaug relaxed his watch sufficiently for them to dare the long way on foot. Luckily, they had saved enough of their stores to last them still for some time. They debated long on what was to be done, but they could think of no way of getting rid of Smaug, which had always been a weak point in their plans, as Bilbo felt inclined to point out. Then, as is the nature of folk that are thoroughly perplexed, they began to grumble at the Hobbit, blaming him for what had at first so pleased them, for bringing away a cup and stirring up Smaug's wrath so soon. "What else do you suppose a burglar is to do?" asked Bilbo angrily. "I was not engaged to kill dragons. That is warriors' work. But to steal treasure? I made the best beginning I could. Did you expect me to trot back with the whole horde of Thror on my back? If there is any grumbling to be done, I think I might have a say. You ought to have brought 500 burglars, not one. I am sure it reflects great credit on your grandfather, but you cannot pretend that you ever made the vast extent of his wealth clear to me. I should want hundreds of years to bring it all up, if I was 50 times as big, and Smaug as tame as a rabbit." After that, of course, the dwarves begged his pardon. "What then do you propose we should do, Mr. Baggins?" asked Thorin politely. "I have no idea at the moment. If you mean about removing the treasure, that obviously depends entirely on some new turn of luck and the getting rid of Smaug. Getting rid of dragons is not at all in my line, but I will do my best to think about it. Personally, I have no hopes at all, and I wish I was safe back at home. Never mind that at the moment. What are we to do now, today?" "Well, if you really want my advice, I should say we can do nothing but stay where we are. By day, we can no doubt creep out safely enough to take the air. Perhaps before long, one or two could be chosen to go back to the store by the river and replenish our supplies. But in the meanwhile, everyone ought to be well inside the tunnel by night. Now, I will make you an offer. I have got my ring, and will creep down this very noon. Then, if ever Smaug ought to be napping, and see what he is up to. Perhaps something will turn up. Every worm has his weak spot, as my father used to say. Though I am sure it was not from personal experience." Naturally, the dwarves accepted this offer eagerly. Already they had come to respect little Bilbo. Now he had become the real leader in their adventure. He had begun to have ideas and plans of his own. When midday came, he got ready for another journey down into the mountain. He did not like it, of course, but it was not so bad. Now he knew, more or less, what was in front of him. Had he known more about dragons and their wily ways, he might have been more frightened and less hopeful of catching this one napping. The sun was shining when he started, but it was as dark as night in the tunnel. The light from the door, almost closed, soon faded as he went down. So silent was his going that smoke on a gentle wind could hardly have surpassed it, and he was inclined to feel a bit proud of himself as he drew near the lower door. There was only the very faintest glow to be seen. "Old Smaug is weary and asleep," he thought. "He can't see me, and he won't hear me. Cheer up, Bilbo." He had forgotten, or had never heard, about dragon's sense of smell. It is also an awkward fact that they can keep half an eye open while watching while they asleep. if they are suspicious. Smaug certainly looked fast asleep, almost dead and dark, with scarcely a snore, more than a whiff of unseen steam, when Bilbo peeped once more from the entrance. He was just about to step out to the floor when he caught a sudden thin, piercing ray of red from under the drooping lid of Smaug's left eye. He was only pretending to sleep. He was watching the tunnel entrance. Hurriedly, Bilbo stepped back and blessed the luck of his ring. Then Smaug spoke. "Well, thief, I smell you, and I feel your air, and I hear your breath. Come along, help yourself again. There's plenty and to spare." But Bilbo was not quite so unlearned in dragon lore as all that, and if Smaug hoped to get him to come nearer so easily, he was disappointed. "No, thank you, O Smaug the Tremendous," he replied. I did not come for presents. I only wished to have a look at you and see if you were truly as great as tales say. I did not believe them." "Do you now?" said the dragon, somewhat flattered, even though he did not believe a word of it. "Truly, songs and tales fall utterly short of reality, O Smaug, the chiefest and greatest of calamities," replied Bilbo. "You have nice manners for a thief and a liar," said the dragon. "You seem familiar with my name, but I don't seem to remember smelling you before. Who are you, and where do you come from, may I ask?" "You may, indeed. I come from under the hill, and under the hills, and over the hills. My paths lead, and through the air. I am he that walks unseen." "So I can well believe," said Smaug, "but that is hardly a usual name. Oh, I am the clue finder, the web cutter, the stinging fly. I was chosen for the lucky number." "Lovely titles," sneered the dragon, "but lucky numbers don't always come off." "Oh, I am he that buries his friends alive, and drowns them, and draws them alive again from the water. I came from the end of a bag, but no bag went over me." "These don't sound so creditable," scoffed Smaug. "I am the friend of bears, and the guest of eagles. I am the ring winner and luck wearer, and I am the barrel rider," went on Bilbo, beginning to be pleased with his riddling. "That's better," said Smaug, "but don't let your imagination run away with you." This, of course, is the way to talk to a dragon, if you don't want to reveal your proper name, which is wise, and don't want to infuriate them by a flat refusal, which is also very wise. No dragon can resist the fascination of riddling talk and of wasting time trying to understand it. There was a lot here, which Smaug did not understand at all, although I expect you do, since you know all about Bilbo's adventures to which he was referring. But he thought he understood enough, and he chuckled in his wicked inside. "I thought so last night," he smiled to himself. "Lakemen, some nasty scheme of those miserable tub-trading lakemen, or I'm a lizard. I haven't been down that way for an age and an age, but I will soon alter that." "Very well, O barrel rider," he said aloud. "Maybe Barrel was your pony's name, and maybe not, though it was fat enough. You may walk unseen, but you did not walk all the way. Let me tell you, I ate 6 ponies last night, and I shall catch and eat all the others before long. In return for the excellent meal, I will give you one piece of advice for your good. Don't have more to do with dwarves than you can help." "Dwarves?" said Bilbo, in pretend surprise. "Don't talk to me," said Smaug. "I know the smell and taste of dwarf. No one better. Don't tell me that I can eat a dwarf-ridden pony and not know it. You'll come to a bad end if you go with such friends. Thief, barrel rider, I don't mind if you go back and tell them so from me. But he did not tell Bilbo that there was one smell he could not make out at all. Hobbit smell. It was quite outside his experience, and puzzled him mightily. I suppose you got a fair price for that cup last night, he went on. Come now, did you? Nothing at all? Well, that's just like them, and I suppose they are skulking outside, and your job is to do all the dangerous work, and get what you can when I'm not looking for them? And you will get a fair share? Don't you believe it. If you get off alive, you will be lucky. Bilbo was now beginning to feel really uncomfortable. Whenever Smaug's roving eye, seeking for him in the shadows, flashed across him, he trembled, and an unaccountable desire seized hold of him to rush out and reveal himself and tell all the truth to Smaug. In fact, he was in grievous danger of coming under the dragon's spell. But, plucking up courage, he spoke again. You don't know everything, O Smaug the Mighty, said he. Not gold alone brought us hither. Ha! 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 You admit to us. You admit the us, laughed Smaug. Why not say us 14 and be done with it, Mr. Lucky Number? I am pleased to hear that you had other business in these parts besides my gold. In that case, you may, perhaps, not altogether waste your time. I don't know if it has occurred to you that even if you could steal the gold bit by bit, a matter of 100 years or so, you could not get it very far. Not much use on the mountainside, not much use in the forest. Bless me, had you never thought of the catch? A 14th share, I suppose, or something like it. Those were the terms, huh? But what about delivery? What about cartage? What about armed guards and tolls? And Smaug laughed aloud. He had a wicked and wily heart, and he knew his guesses were not far out, though he suspected that the lake men were at the back of the plans, and that most of the plunder was meant to stop there in the town by the shore that in his young days had been called Esgaroth. You will hardly believe it, but poor Bilbo was really very taken aback. So far, all his thoughts and energies had been concentrated on getting to the mountain and finding the entrance. He had never bothered to wonder how the treasure was to be removed, certainly never how any part of it that might fall to his share was to be brought all the way back to Bag End Underhill. Now, a nasty suspicion began to grow in his mind. Had the dwarves forgotten this important point too, or were they laughing in their sleeves at him all the time? That is the effect that dragon talk has on the inexperienced. Bilbo, of course, ought to have been on his guard, but Smaug had rather an overwhelming personality. I tell you, he said, in an effort to remain loyal to his friends and to keep his end up, that gold was only an afterthought with us. We came over hill and under hill, by wave and wind, for revenge. Surely, O Smaug, the unaccessibly wealthy, you must realize that your success has made you some bitter enemies. Then Smaug really did laugh, a devastating sound which shook Bilbo to the floor, while far up in the tunnel the dwarves huddled together and imagined that the hobbit had come to a sudden and nasty end. Revenge! He snorted, and the light of his eyes lit the hall from floor to ceiling. Revenge! Like scarlet lightning, excuse me. His eyes lit the hall from floor to ceiling like scarlet lightning. I love Tolkien's way of writing. It's just so wonderful. Revenge! The king under the mountain is dead. And where are his kin that dare seek revenge? Girion, Lord of Dale, is dead, and I have eaten his people like a wolf among sheep. And where are his sons that dare approach me? I kill where I wish, and none dare resist. I laid low the warriors of old, and their like is not in the world today. Then I was but young and tender. Now I am old and strong, 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 thief in the shadows. He gloated. My armor is like tenfold shields. My teeth are like swords. My claws, spears. The shock of my tail, a thunderbolt. My wings, a hurricane. And my breath, death. I have always understood, said Bilbo in a frightened squeak, that dragons were soft underneath, especially in the region of the chest. But doubtless one so fortified has thought of that. The dragon stopped short in his boasting. Your information is antiquated, he snapped. I am armored above and below with iron scales and hard gems. No blade can pierce me. I might have guessed it, said Bilbo. Truly, there can nowhere be found the equal of Lord Smaug, the impenetrable. What magnificence to possess a waistcoat of fine diamonds. Yes, it is rare and wonderful indeed, said Smaug, absurdly pleased. He did not know that the hobbit had already caught a glimpse of his peculiar undercovering on his previous visit, and was itching for a closer view, for reasons of his own. The dragon rolled over. Look, he said. What do you say to that? Dazzlingly marvelous. Perfect, flawless, staggering, exclaimed Bilbo aloud, but what he thought inside was, old fool! Why, there's a large patch on the hollow of his left breast, as bare as a snail out of its shell. After he had seen that, Mr. Baggin's one idea was to get away. Well, I really must not detain your magnificence any longer, or keep you from much-needed rest, he said. Ponies take some catching, I believe, after a long start. And so do burglars, he added as a parting shot, and he darted back and fled up the tunnel. It was an unfortunate remark, for the dragon spouted terrific flames after him, and fast though he sped up the slope, he had not gone nearly far enough to be comfortable before the ghastly head of Smaug was thrust against the opening behind. Luckily, the whole head and jaws could not quite squeeze in, but the nostrils sent forth fire and vapor to pursue him, and he was nearly overcome and stumbled blindly on in great pain and fear. He had been feeling rather pleased with the cleverness of his conversation with Smaug, but his mistake at the end shook him into better sense. Never laugh at live dragons, Bilbo, you fool, he said to himself, and it became a favorite saying of his later years, and passed into a proverb. Never laugh at live dragons, guys, you know it. You aren't nearly through this adventure yet, he added, and that was pretty true as well. The afternoon was turning into evening when he came out again and stumbled and fell in a faint on the doorstep. The dwarves revived him and doctored his scorches as well as they could, but it was a long time before the hair on the back of his head and his heels grew properly again. It had all been singed and frizzled right down to the skin. In the meanwhile, his friends did their best to cheer him up, and they were eager for his story, especially wanting to know why the dragon had made such an awful noise, and how Bilbo had escaped. But the hobbit was worried and uncomfortable, and they had difficulty in getting anything out of him. On thinking things over, he was now regretting some of the things he had said to the dragon, and was not eager to repeat them. The old thrush was sitting on a rock nearby, with his head cocked to one side, listening to all that was said. It shows what an ill temper Bilbo was in. He picked up a stone and threw it at the thrush, which merely fluttered aside and came back. "Drat the bird," said Bilbo crossly. "I believe he's listening, and I don't like the look of him." "Leave him alone," said Thorin. "The thrushes are good and friendly, and this is a very old bird indeed, and is, maybe, the last left of the ancient breed that used to live about here. Tame to the hands of my father and grandfather. They were a long-lived and magical race, and this might even be one of those that were alive then, a couple of 100 years ago or more. The men of Dale used to have the trick of understanding their language, and used them for messengers to fly to the men of the lake and elsewhere." "Well, he'll have news to take to Lake Town all right, if that is what he's after," said Bilbo, "though I don't suppose there are any people left there that trouble with thrush language." "Why, what has happened?" cried all the dwarves. "Do, get on with your tale." So Bilbo told them all he could remember, and he confessed that he had a nasty feeling that the dragon guessed too much from his riddles, added to the camps and the ponies. "I'm sure he knows we came from Lake Town, and had help from there, and I have a horrible feeling that his next move may be in that direction. I wish to goodness I had never said that about Barrel Rider. It would make even a blind rabbit in these parts think of the lake men. Well, well, it cannot be helped, and it is difficult not to slip in talking to a dragon, or so I have always heard," said Balin, anxious to comfort him. "I think you did very well. If you ask me, you found out one very useful thing, at any rate, and got home alive. And that is more than most can say, who have had words with the likes of Smaug. It may be a mercy and a blessing, yet to know of the bare patch in the old worm's diamond waistcoat." That turned the conversation. Indeed, that turned the conversation, and they all began discussing dragon slayings, historical, dubious, and mythical, and the various sorts of stabs and jabs and undercuts, and the different arts, devices, and stratagems by which they had been accomplished. The general opinion was that catching a dragon napping was not as easy as it sounded, and the attempt to stick one or prod one asleep was more likely to end in disaster than a bold frontal attack. All the while, they talked to the thrush. All the while they talked, the thrush listened till at last, when the stars began to peep forth, it silently spread its wings and flew away. And all the while they talked and the shadows lengthened, Bilbo became more and more unhappy, and his foreboding grew. At last he interrupted them. "I'm sure we're very unsafe here," he said, "and I don't see the point of sitting here. The dragon has withered all the pleasant green, and anyway, the night has gone, and it's cold. But I feel in my bones that this place will be attacked again. Smaug knows now how I came down to his hall, and you can trust him to guess where the other end of the tunnel is. He will break all this side of the mountain, and if to bits, he will break, all this side of the mountain to bits, if necessary, to stop up our entrance, and if we're smashed with it, the better he will like it." "You are very gloomy, Mr. Baggins," said Thorin. "Why has not Smaug blocked the lower end, then, if he is so eager to keep us out?" "He has not, or we should have heard him." "I don't know. I don't know. But because at first he wanted to try and lure me in again, I suppose, and now perhaps because he's waiting till after tonight's hunt, or because he does not want to damage his bedroom if he can help it. But I wish you would not argue. Smaug will be coming out at any minute now, and our only hope is to get well in the tunnel and shut the door." He seemed so much in earnest that the dwarves at last did as he said, though they delayed shutting the door. It seemed a desperate plan. for no one knew whether or how they could get it open again from the inside, and they thought of being shut in a place from which the only way out led through the dragon's lair was not one they liked. Also, everything seemed quite quiet, both outside and down the tunnel. So for a longish while they sat inside, not far down from the half-open door, and went on talking. The talk turned to the dragon's wicked words about the dwarves. Bilbo wished he had never heard them, or at least that he could feel quite certain that the dwarves now were absolutely honest when they declared that they had never thought at all about what would happen after the treasure had been won. "We knew it would be a desperate venture," said Thorin, and we know that still. And I still think that when we have won it, will be time enough to think about what to do with it. As for your share, Mr. Baggins, I assure you, we are more than grateful, and you shall choose your own 14th, as soon as we have anything to divide. I'm sorry if you're worried about transport, and I admit the difficulties are great. The lands have not become less wild with the passing of time, rather the reverse. But we will do whatever we can for you, and take our share of the cost when the time comes. Believe me or not, as you like. From that, the talk turned to the great hoard itself, and to the things that Thorin and Balin remembered. They wondered if they were still lying there, unharmed, in the hall below, the spears that were made for the armies of the great King Bloodorthin, long since dead. Each had a thrice-forged head, and their shafts were inlaid with cunning gold. But they were never delivered or paid for. Shields made for warriors long dead, the great golden cup of Thror, two-handed, hammered, and carven with birds and flowers, whose eyes and petals were of jewels, coats of mail, gilded and silvered and impenetrable, the necklace of Girion, Lord of Dale, made of 500 emeralds green as grass, which he gave for the arming of his eldest son in a coat of dwarf-linked rings, the like of which had never been made before. For it was wrought of pure silver, to the power and strength of triple steel. But fairest of all was the great white gem, which the dwarves had found beneath the roots of the mountain, the heart of the mountain, the Arkenstone of Thrain. "Ah, the Arkenstone," murmured Thorin in the dark, half dreaming with his chin upon his knees. It was like a globe with 1,000 facets. It shone like silver in the firelight, like water in the sun, like snow under the stars, like rain upon the moon. But the enchanted desire of the horde had fallen from Bilbo. All through their talk, he was only half listening to them. He sat nearest to the door, with one ear cocked for any beginnings of a sound without. His other was alert for echoes beyond the murmurs of the dwarves, for any whisper of a movement from far below. Darkness grew deeper, and he grew ever more uneasy. "Shut the door," he begged them. I fear the dragon in my marrow. I like this silence far less than the uproar of last night. Shut the door, before it's too late." Something in his voice gave the dwarves an uncomfortable feeling. Slowly, Thorin shook off his dreams, and getting up, he kicked away the stone that wedged the door. Then they thrust upon it, and it closed with a snap and a clang. No trace of a keyhole was there left on the inside. They were shut in the mountain. And not a moment too soon, they had hardly gone any distance down the tunnel, when a blow smote the side of the mountain, like the crash of battering rams, made of forest oaks and swung by giants. The rock boomed, the walls cracked, and stones fell from the roof on their heads. What would have happened if the door had still been open? I don't like to think. They fled further down the tunnel, glad to be alive. Still, glad to still be alive. They fled further down the tunnel, glad to be still alive, while behind them, outside, they heard the roar and rumble of Smaug's fury. He was breaking rocks to pieces, smashing wall and cliff with the lashings of his huge tail, till their little lofty camping ground, the scorched grass, the thrush's stone, the snail-covered walls, the narrow ledge, and all disappeared in a jumble of smithereens, and an avalanche of splintered stones fell over the cliff into the valley below. Smaug had left his lair in silent stealth, quietly soared into the air, and then floated heavy and slow in the dark, like a monstrous crow, down the wind towards the west of the mountain, in the hopes of catching unawares something or somebody there, and of spying the outlet to the passage which the thief had used. This was the outburst of his wrath when he could find nobody and see nothing, even where he guessed the outlet must actually be. After he had let off his rage, in this way, he felt better, and he thought in his heart that he would not be troubled again from that direction. In the meanwhile, he had further vengeance to take. "Barrel rider," he snorted, "your feet came from the water side, and up the water you came without a doubt. I don't know your smell, but if you are not one of those men of the lake, you had their help. They shall see me and remember who is the real king under the mountain." He rose in fire and went away south towards the running river. And that is our chapter. Inside information. How did that go? Boys and girls, did you enjoy that? How was that? I'm afraid that I have ignored the hotline this whole time, and even my mom was calling me. By the way, my mom was calling me to wish me happy birthday, and I ignored my mom's phone call. How was that? Was that good, guys? Yes, I am fire. I am death. What have we done? Oh, thank you, guys. Pretty good, huh? I appreciate that. That was fun. That was actually very fun. That's a great chapter. Some of the best dialogue and the sneakiest gamesmanship between the dragon and the hobbit. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Thank you. Thank you for that birthday applause. Wow. And yes, you streamer 49131, I would like nothing better than to do a real full audiobook of The Hobbit. It would be fantastic. Ah, we're getting a phone call on the OneRing.net hotline as we get near the end of our wonderful show. Hello there, welcome. You're live on Torn Tuesday.
Hi.
Hey there.
This is Tolkien Girl.
Hey, Tolkien Girl. How was that little Professor's Corner? Was that good?
Oh, that was beautiful. That was amazing. Thank you. I needed that. I have an exam tomorrow. I needed that tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you very, very kindly for the acknowledgement. No better way to celebrate a birthday than to, talk about those funny bits where Bilbo, forgot it was his birthday, and I really wanted to get the fans excited about getting back to the professor and reading his excellent words, because, hey, he has a birthday in January, and so do I. Both Professor Tolkien and I are January birthdays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Oh, the chat room is going crazy. Tolkien Girl, you're live. So, how are you?
I'm good.
Very good.
Yeah. I was actually told at the beginning of the night that I had to call in and sing happy birthday to you. So, because apparently I'm the only one in the chat room who can sing.
Bring it. Bring it. I'm here, baby. I'm here. Bring it.
Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Clifford / Quickbeam. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Awesome. Clapping. Bring in. I have to put the phone down to clap, but thank you. That's lovely. That was lovely.
Happy birthday, Cliff.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. You know how I wish that you were here in LA so that we could go bowling tonight.
Oh, that would be awesome.
It
But
would
I have
be.
an exam tomorrow, so I should be getting to sleep soon.
Oh gosh, that's amazing. Well, I'm so grateful for all of you guys, all of our friends and our usual suspects in the chat room, and that was a lovely rendition for the birthday song. And I guess we're not. Are we going to see you, Tolkien Girl, at the one expected party, the one last party?
No, sadly, I cannot come. It is all the way down in LA, and I'm all the way up in Canada, and I don't exactly have enough money to go, and I don't have time to go. And all this
Ah, yes.
stuff.
The exigencies of life as we know it. Yeah, I get it. Well, don't worry. I will be personally hosting the live stream with a bit of Justin's help. So we'll be doing the live stream, and you guys can participate and watch and listen and enjoy the party through that method, even though you couldn't be there physically. We'll have you with us in spirit, for sure.
Will do.
Awesome. Good luck tomorrow on your exam, my dear.
All right, thank you.
Excellent.
Have a good night.
Yeah, blame Canada.
Bye.
Have a great night, sweetheart. Excellent. That is awesome. Yay! Very nice, Tolkien Girl. That was lovely. That was lovely. Hey, guys. I tell you what. I am glad that you enjoyed that reading. You know, Professor's Corner, reading a chapter from The Hobbit. I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed that. Thank you, the Sheepish Lion. Hey, Sheepish Lion. Come to Chateau 39 Lanes tonight. You know where that is? Chateau 39 Lanes? You guys, anybody who's in Los Angeles, you come and join me, and we will have bowling tonight. You know, it's in Koreatown, right near the intersection of, like, Vermont and 6th. Okay? Chateau 39 Lanes. I'd love it. I would love it, Sheepish Lion, if you and Ellen could come to bowling tonight. Hey, Max. Hey, you and your dad, you want to drive all the way from San Diego? Come on up. It's a long drive for bowling, but it would be great if you guys could make it. Yeah, Ellen, you guys, if you want to, if you're not free, that's okay, you're not free, but, you know, we'll get together, we'll be having a great party. About a month from now, I think that we're literally 4 weeks away from the extraordinary one last party, because we got it fully funded. We were trying to make $180,000 on the Indiegogo, and we got over $200,000, well over our funding goals. Such excitement in the air. I'll be hosting the live stream. We'll have Jed Brophy there on stage as master of ceremonies, and I will be popping up on stage from time to time to flirt and to talk live and to have the audience and the room and the bands all join the fans in the live chat. It's going to be so great. In the near future, I think in the very near future, we're going to do 8 o'clock, by the way. Yes. Hey, Esme, yeah, if you're down, come bowling. 8 p.m. tonight. If you guys really like, if you like listening to a careful and colorful reading of the Professor, as much as I enjoy delivering a colorful reading of the Professor, maybe we'll do it full on a very special edition. There are how many chapters in The Hobbit? Let's see. How many chapters in this book? Hey, where's my table of contents? 19. Wow, 19. If I can read one whole chapter in an hour, maybe I can get the whole thing done in a continuous 19-hour marathon. Wouldn't that be kind of fantastic to do a 19-hour marathon? Nah, that'd be too long. I'll make a plan with Justin. We will calculate the time of day and the time of night when we want to do this, and we'll sit down and do an entire full read of The Hobbit, J.R.R. Tolkien's masterpiece. And I'd be very, very glad to deliver that. And yeah, I want to get the attention of HarperCollins and Houghton Mifflin, the American publishers, and if they need a new voiceover artist to do a new audiobook, just for the fans, I'm your man. And maybe it could be my big audition to do that audiobook. Haha. Yeah, make Justin read it. Yes, I would need a couple of gallons of hot tea and a little nip from my flask to keep me going. And I would need lots of snacks, maybe some Hot Pockets and some Sun Chips, maybe some Three Musketeers bars, my favorite kind of snacks. And, that reminds me, I have a birthday cake waiting for me at home in the fridge. One of my dearest friends, Megan. Megan is a cook, a baker, and she baked this most amazing red velvet cake, and it's waiting for me with my name on it at home. Such excitement to have my friend make me a homemade, delicious cake. Hello, Max. Yes, Max, I didn't get your texts at all until just now, within the past few minutes. So, No, I'm joking. I don't eat Hot Pockets. That was a total joke. To tell you the truth, I'd rather have, what are some of my favorite Hobbity snacks? Let's take a look at the Hobbit. Jam and apple tart? All those foods that the dwarves require when they start arriving at his place? Let's see, I'll have some of this, and I'll have some of that. Oh, yeah, raspberry jam and apple tart. Here you go. Mince pies and cheese. Pork pie and salad. That sounds good. Oh, and more cakes, and ale, and coffee, if you don't mind. Hey, put on a few eggs. There's a good fellow. Yeah, that's the kind of snacks I like. Pork pie, salad, eggs, coffee. Well, I don't drink coffee. But anyway, it is so wonderful to do a live show, just on my own. I'm used to having the back and forth bounce of Justin, but I'm also I'm very accustomed to struggling with Justin and some of the doofy things that he says, because he can be such a doofus sometimes. But I love him. He's great, but he says some things that I just have to correct the record. You know how it is around here. But it's really nice to be on a solo flight. Wonderful to share the professor's corner with you. And let's take this last call from the hotline. Oh, hey, I lost that call. There was a call on the hotline. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Stephanie. Love LOTR. I appreciate the acknowledgement. Max, you're so funny. What are you doing? It's great. It's going to be a great party in February. We're going to have a great experience over the next few weeks. Getting the party ready, getting so many things ready. It's going to be so huge. I'm going to take this call right now on the Torn Hotline. Hello, you are live with Quickbeam right here on Torn Tuesday.
Finally got it. I actually let you go because I wasn't sure if you were going to pick up.
Oh, hey, yeah, I was trying to pick up, but I didn't get it fast enough. How are you? Who's this?
It's Pippin.
Hey, Pippin, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm good. I actually don't have a class now at the time, so I might come in every once in a while.
Great, this is our original...
A lot of homework.
You're our original Pippin, really? From years ago when we first started our live webcast? You're our first Pippin, yes?
I believe so.
Oh gosh, that's great. That's wonderful. Wow, this is like coming...
The one that likes to wear the hats, yes, that's me.
Yes, and the one who used to be... Well, remember when we had that other service? What were we using? Stickcam.
Yeah, the bane of all the trolls.
Yes, Pippin, you were our very first moderator, and we gave you that wonderful job to get rid of the idiots and the trolls when we did Stickcam a couple of years ago. Oh my gosh, I think we're in our 3rd year of Torn Tuesday, aren't we now?
I think so. I haven't really been on recently.
I know, I haven't heard your voice or seen you on the chat in so long. Yes, Pippin the mod, the modern mod. So glad that you had time to come and join us live today. It's great to hear your voice.
Well, I figured I should call in and say hi because it's your birthday today, so happy birthday.
Thank you. It is. My 111th, actually. No, to be honest, I just turned 46, actually. And it's a very exciting birthday. I'm feeling energized and very uplifted. And thank you. Thank you for the good wishes, my dear. I'm so glad. Yes, the sheriff. Pete is here in the chat room, and he says, Pete, Northrunner, he says that you were the sheriff.
Yeah, I've been talking
Oh yeah, you guys have been chatting this whole time. And Emily, I miss Stick Cam as well. Gosh, how funny is that? So you are welcome. You're welcome to come back anytime, and even if it's on limited occasions when you can come and join us, it'd be so great to have you back for any of our Tuesday shows.
All right, I'll do my best.
Lovely. I hope you've been doing good. You've been doing very well. Yes.
I've been doing all right. I did better than I thought I was going to do last semester. I got almost a 3.0.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah! That's great. Well done. Very well done. That's excellent. Yes. Ustreamer49131. I did like your poem about studying for finals and missing TheOneRing.net.
I think I'm going to grab now.
Is that you? No. Hold on. I wanted to share this.
Not me.
No, it's not you, but I was responding because you've been caught up as a student. You've been caught up in your studies. And I know that you had to miss coming to Torn Tuesday for a while. And that's cool. Welcome back. But one of our other chatters in the stream had made up a really funny little rhyme. It was like a little limerick or a rhyme about how difficult it is to get through studies. And my friend in the chat, if you could retype that again and share it with everyone, because I'm afraid I've lost it. But Pippin, I'll let you go. It's great to have, all the students and all the friendly folks back on our show.
Yeah, it's good to have some time to do something different.
Fabulous. Good to have you. Good to hear you again.
All I do is read.
Me too. That's all I ever do is read. And write a lot. So, oh gosh, there's moths in the attic. Look out, there's moths in the attic. Pippin, you have a great night, and we're going to say goodnight to another caller who's trying to come in.
All right,
Okay?
bye.
Sweet dreams. Thank you, dear. Okay. Hello? Are you still there?
Oh, is it Justin?
Hey, no, this is Clifford. Hi, welcome. You're live on TheOneRing.net.
Oh, how you doing, Cliff? This is Pete, Northerner. I'm calling up to sing you a happy birthday if you got a minute.
Pete, oh my gosh, that is so nice. Dude, are you snowed in? Are you in the middle of that crazy blizzard over there?
Yeah, we only got about 14 inches.
Only 14 inches of snow. Oh my gosh.
Talk to Pippin. That's like a spring morning to them where she lives.
Wow, I am amazed at that. And that's why we live here where it's 72 degrees and sunny today. Wasn't it? How warm was it today, Justin? It was about 72 or 75. And yesterday, too. Dude, you don't have you don't have to sing me happy birthday, but you're welcome to if you'd like. Go ahead.
Yeah, hang on, I'm going to play my guitar. Hold on a second.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
It's going to be on speakerphone, so the sound might be crappy, but sorry, hang on.
Oh, Pete, you're brilliant, man. You're brilliant.
Okay.
Hey.
I bet you said that to all the brilliant guys.
Yeah.
Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to the Broadway. Happy birthday to you. Okay.
I love it. That is so awesome. Oh my gosh. You are I didn't know you could play so well. That's awesome, dude.
I'm looking at I'm gonna let you bopping back and forth when I'm singing. I have the sound off. It's pretty funny.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to have all these good wishes, and you're a gentleman and a scholar. Thanks, Pete. That's great to have you guys here.
I know you are, but what am I? And we're gonna meet next month. I'm gonna be at the party. I just gotta.
Hello, yes, Pete. Awesome. All right, we're gonna bring you on stage. It's gonna be fantastic because the funny thing, this is you guys. This is like a little Torn Tuesday family reunion. I mean, Justin, we've got Pete Northrunner and Pippin, and there are two first-timers, our two most original chatters in our chat room. The only person missing would be Jennifer.
Yeah, Jenny's. She missed most of the snow too. I don't know what her excuse is.
That's brilliant. Okay, you, sir, are awesome. Thank you for the love. I'm going to try to turn on Skype so I can say hello to Emily because she's over there in England right now.
Yeah, okay. Listen, all the best for your birthday, man. You're an awesome guy. I'm so blessed to know you.
Thank you. I'm blessed as well to know you. You, sir, are awesome. It's like having a friend who I've never even met. But you're great. Great to hear your voice. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Cliff. You take care. God bless, man.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Take care. Bye-bye. Very nice. Okay, guys, I know we're going a little bit over time since it's after 6:30, but here you go. I'm going to turn on Skype. Now, Emily, I almost have... Hey, Justin, my battery's almost dead. Can we use Skype on your phone?
My battery's dead too.
Okay. Okay, Emily, this is going to be a super brief Skype. Because I know my battery is like below 18% now. It's just going to die. So... My phone is blowing up, and my mom is calling me, and people are texting a whole bunch of stuff. But we're on, Emily. We're live on Skype. So, before we close down our show, we'll have a quick little chit-chat with one of our dear friends here in England. Okay, Emily, here we go. Ah, there it is. Hey,
Hi.
how are you, sweetie?
My battery is like...
Happy birthday.
Now it's just going to die.
Oh, hey, happy birthday. Oh, look at the kitty cat. Oh, that's adorable.
People are texting.
Meow. Oh, wow.
Happy birthday.
That guy looks just like my cat. Just like... And I do remember, you have a huge cat. That cat is... How much does he weigh? 17 pounds?
Oh, I don't know.
Here we go.
2 stones?
I don't know.
That cat's probably about 25 pounds. Look at the size of that cat. Unbelievable. Hey, great to see you today. How are you, dear?
I'm good, thanks. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm having a very good birthday. And in half a minute, I'm going to go get some birthday cake and then go bowling.
That
Yeah.
guy looks just like my cat.
But
I do remember.
unless I have to work, then I'll be here
How much does he
almost
weigh?
every
17
week.
pounds?
And I can't wait to hear a read through. And although unfortunately I can't make it to the one last party, I'll be watching on the Skype of it, the viewing of it.
Excellent. That'll be great. I'm so glad to have so many great people around me, and all this acknowledgement is really wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for a little bit of acknowledgement goes a long way, as they say. And today I've got mountains and mountains of acknowledgement, and it's going to last me through the rest of the year.
Well, I'll go on a birthday kiss. Mwah.
Ah, mwah. Thank you, my dear. Can't wait for the live stream from the party. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be super fantastic.
If a read. I'll be watching on the Skype.
Are you? There's going to be an audio feedback loop if you don't turn your volume down. I think some of the other people might have heard it already.
So glad there's so many great people around me.
Well, thank you for calling, and have a great day.
Of course, I'm so glad to know you. Thank you for being part of our show all the time. Justin, are we ready to almost close down? All right, we're going to do a sign off right now. Thank you, Emily. You're the best. Take care, honey. All right. Lots of love from everybody around the world, around the world. Having a little Daft Punk flashback. You guys are awesome. I've got to get going. Thank you for joining us at the Professor's Reading Corner. You know, a special edition of Torn Tuesday, just for, you know, another January birthday. You know, myself, and very humbled. I'm feeling humbled and quite touched. Thank you. Thank you, guys, everyone. And, oh, yeah, hey, you texted me that poem again. That's great. Oh, I guess you did. Well, before my battery dies, let's see if I can see it. Oh, wow, you guys do have a lot of snow. Oh, my gosh, so many people. Oh, these midterms, from a vile mind they were born. For them I am studying, and missing torn. Ah, ha, ha. Good luck with your finals. Pippin, good luck with your studies. Everybody, good luck with everything that's going on. And to all my friends over there in New England, be careful, stay safe, watch out for the blizzards, and we'll see you next week, live on Torn Tuesday. Follow me on Twitter at Quickbeam2000, QUICKBEAM 2000. And follow us on Facebook and Twitter at TheOneRing.net. Love having you guys here. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Talk to you later. Have a good night.